Hello, hello, everyone. I'm your host, April Ross, on the Yes to Life podcast, sharing inspiring stories from people who have overcome difficult times and have advice and resources to offer to help you live in freedom every day. Because I believe that pain in life is inevitable, but I also believe that suffering is optional. And if we are suffering, it's because we do not have the tools and resources that we need in order to alleviate that suffering and turn our pain into power. And I have an amazing guest with me today, Erin LoPorto. Erin, why don't you welcome to the stage, first of all? And
Hello.
hello, and tell us a little bit about who you are really quick before we get into the nitty-gritty.
All right. Well, I consider myself an embodiment coach at this point in time. I am a certified yoga therapist, a health and life coach, an energy healer. I was a former body worker. So, all things body is what I've been studying the past decade, working with and studying with clients. So,
Fantastic. And so what I want to know first is share with us about a time that you hit rock bottom and what was the moment that helped you decide to keep going and to find a solution to that?
yeah, I feel really lucky because I feel like when I really hit rock bottom, like that deepest low where I just wanted to end it all, I had no energy to do anything about that desire.
Mm,
And if it was backed with a little more rage, if it was backed with a little more impulsivity, like I don't know that I would be here, but it was just such exhaustion of holding on and holding against everything that did not seem fair in my life. I was really, really stuck on this fairness thing. I was really, really stuck on how not fair things were and where I was stuck in the middle of that. And I really wanted somebody else to make it fair. And I really wanted like that attention or that validation or that something. And I just like the amount of just pain that I had absolutely no idea what to do with
mm,
um was suffocating for years. And then the moment, I think that there are kind of two moments that really were big turntables for me. And the first moment was one of the things that I very much suffered from was bulimia. And I was very caught up in that. And I work with eating disorder folks these days. And I've seen a lot of folks, and I haven't really met anybody doing the level of craziness, or at least admitting to the level of craziness that I was participating in on a regular basis. But one of the things that I kind of like really went to was ice cream. And at one point, it was like this dare between my mother and I. I was like, I want ice cream. And she was like, do you really want ice cream? Or like, are you going to do something bad with it? And I ended up getting out of the car. We were driving together. I hopped out of the car like a total child. I was an adult.
yeah.
um, and I walked home. And by the time I got home, I threw myself on the bed and I just started crying. And I cried for all of those things that I felt were not fair.
Mm,
But at the bottom of that, I started crying for all of the stuff that I bought into. And I had not realized until that moment that I had done that, that I believed the lie or
mm,
that I had bought into something and I forgot who I was. And as mad as I was at my parents, at the world, at society, at all of this stuff and all of that that I was holding, I was most angry with myself for believing it
yeah.
and I was most angry at myself for hurting myself. I never saw how I was hurting myself. I
Mm,
saw how I was just like the victim to all of this crazy out here.
yeah.
But that was the moment when I started being like, "Oh, this is me." And then I really kind of had a moment of healing there with myself, or empowerment, where I started to see where I had choices in all of this. And I started to engage with getting help and support. But I think I was still reliant on that help and support out there until the second time, where I really was just like, okay, this is it. When I showed up at my therapist early to catch her chain smoking before our session, and I just was like, if I am going to heal this, I'm going to have to do this myself. I really had this idea that there are no heroes, and I wanted a hero, so I really became mine. And I like remember driving home from there and actually doing a U-turn on the road to go back towards the library to start researching, to start creating my own path, my own journey, and really holding myself 100% responsible for everything. Even the stuff that people did to me, I started being like, it's mine now. It's not theirs to fix. They're not going to fix it. So to just really have that clarity of like, is my life worth it? And to really know, like, I can do this. I'm going to figure it out. Even out of spite, I think at that point, there was still
Yes.
just this like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. But in the process, like, I really came to understand that maybe everything doesn't happen to us, but happens for us.
Yeah.
And those things that were most painful in my life, I really hold as the greatest gifts I've had, because I have a level of compassion. I have a level of forgiveness. I have a level of strength that I never would have
Yeah.
had those things not happen. And they're the things that I like value most about myself, and I'm most proud of myself for. So, like, I think like I've taken on the belief that bad things happen to big souls.
Mm.
And
Ooh,
that,
that's a good
you know,
one. Yeah.
like we have to, like, if you're struggling with something that's big and overwhelming, like, to find that bigness, to find that infinite part in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing there's so many, so many. I can't wait to pull sound bites out of this. But it's like, that moment where, you gave yourself permission to release and cry it out, and, knowing what you do as an embodiment coach, and, allowing yourself to finally be present with that. And then it's like our bodies cry out for help. Like, if we have pain, like especially physical pain, and a lot of times it'll stem from emotional pain, and it's like second we finally decide, like, I can't take this anymore, and we let our body experience what it's
Mhm.
going through,
Mhm.
it's the most terrifying thing in the world. And
Mhm.
it's like that's when we start to get the wisdom from the body, and so I can see exactly how that led into what you're doing now. And,
Yeah.
the other thing I heard that I love is, you became your own hero, and it makes me think of the Mariah Carey song, "The Hero Lies in You," right? Because it really does, and it's like when we're in that dark space, the last thing we want to hear is take responsibility, when you are just feeling like everything or everyone in life is beating you down. So it's like, I love that, you had this journey of, I'm just going to finally just let myself let it go. And then, that is how it works. It's like a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And 100% responsibility, even though every coach in the world talks about it, it really is the key. So finding a way to frame that, in a way that works for you, it's,
You
everybody's
know,
different.
it's so interesting because when I think back to the moment, I forgot I used to talk about it like this. but that was the moment that I started like to forgive the stuff that happened to me. I wasn't like trying to take responsibility at the time, and I wasn't trying to forgive at the time. I
Yeah.
was giving myself permission to
Yeah.
feel everything that I had felt and not let myself feel.
Mm,
And when I did that, forgiveness was the automatic result
yeah.
because there was no more charge there.
Yeah. Boom.
And that was the, place where it was like, then I was free, and then I could hold me for the first time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I also wanna name, like, I'm a total empath,
Mhm.
so the world of feelings for me was so complicated. I was never just feeling my feelings. Like I was feeling everybody's feelings. So when you would ask me like what do I want? It was like I was feeling everybody's desires in the room and I was doing my best to take care of them all
Yeah.
because that was the best thing for me when everybody else was satisfied. Like
Yeah.
literally that's what felt the most like peace. So when I actually let myself start feeling and pushing out the stuff that I had absorbed, that also gave me a sense of me that I
Mm,
had never known. And I think boundaries are so important to
yeah.
kind of find safety around and not like hard boundaries because I feel like everything's like, I just need like everything's like boundaries now. But I like to think that you can love everybody from the right distance
Yep.
and where to
Ooh.
set up the boundary
Yeah.
where that's the place that I feel love towards you again. When
Ex
you're too close, I'm getting hurt. When you're too far, I'm being cold. And that doesn't feel good either. But where's that place that I am set up to love and I am also set up for safety?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know I'm a visual thinker. So when you talk about soft boundaries, like I imagine this, kind of like a bubble of peace. And it's like I can make it, more transparent and flexible if I need to, if I want to
Mhm.
connect closer. But, it can be like a glass shelter with some kind of superpower repellent force on the outside if it needs to be. And that's, maybe a woo-woo way of looking at things. But I find that those of us who are empaths is like if we can have it, or like having a dial that you can turn up or down on
Totally. Oh, I
feeling.
love the dial idea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll sometimes do a mirror so that like nothing's getting in, everything's reflecting back to people.
yeah.
Like, yeah, all the tricks to just like, you can hold on to your stuff today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's like one of the things that I occasionally hear facilitators talk about at community events I go to are imagine that for the next few hours, everyone in this room can take care of themselves so that you don't have to take care of them. And that is a hard practice to set down when you're someone who really loves and cares and wants to take care of people. So, hearing about your journey where you're like, okay, I'm going to take care of me now. And, releasing that need to take care of everyone. It's so difficult, but it's pivotal because if we're
Definitely.
not taking care of ourselves, we actually are not taking care of anyone else either.
No, and the moments that I've like pulled back and really filled myself up, even when I was disappointing somebody, especially somebody I care about, it's like once I got filled, I could always go back and be like, okay, now I'm going to do this for you.
Yeah.
And like the ripple effect is greater when we are at our full capacity.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the things that I noticed about you the first moment we ever hopped on Zoom is I'm like, "Oh my god, here's someone else who is, like, also overflowing with capacity." And it's so beautiful to be in your energy,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
like
yours too. Absolutely. I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, this is like such strong connection because there's so much of it, right?"
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes people are like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't give because I've got to hold on, and it's
Mhm.
like you're doing your work, you're filling yourself up. So it's just like it's
Yeah.
play on the outside and all around.
Is, exactly. And so it's like you are this beautiful, bright, shining star now with an
Mhm.
overflowing cup. What advice do you have to somebody who, is in that just shut down dark place? It's like, first, I love that you are the inspiration that someone can get to the place you're
Yeah.
But what advice do you have for them in that right now?
So I think that there's two things that are really important. One, know where you want to go. If I
Mm,
did not know that I was determined to heal myself, I could have spun out in places I didn't want to be forever and ever.
mhm,
So if you're spinning, or if you think that you need to heal something in order to move forward, you don't. You just need to know where you want to go
mm.
and start putting your energy and attention and awareness there, because that will light the way, that will guide you about what your next steps are.
Yes.
And the second thing is to trust yourself. Just, I know that there's a million voices in our head. I know we failed ourselves and like let ourselves down a million times before. That's totally no, it's totally human, totally natural. But in general, our body does say yes to things and our body does say no to things.
Mhm,
It says yes when we get energy, when we get inspired, when we're, feeling more spacious, and it says no when we constrict. And
mhm.
there's a lot of people who sell you things that you're a no to.
Yep,
If you pay attention, they have all the reasons. That's like where we get like buyer's remorse, is like,
mm, yeah,
like that feeling of buyer's remorse. That is like, oh, I just did something that my body said no to. It's
yeah,
never too late to like go back and say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to come. I don't want to show up.
yeah,
But, and this isn't just sold as in products, but this is sold ideas. This is sold what you should be doing this evening, who you should be hanging out with,
yeah,
where fun is.
yeah.
But there is an internal thing that is constantly guiding you to what is actually best for you, and to just trust yourself. You are the one who, like, there are so many people that are ready to love you exactly where you are. You do not
Yes.
have to shift yourself to get the love of the people who happen to be around you right now. So if you are like not finding people who are giving you answers that make sense to you, keep looking for more people. There are billions of people on this planet. Like, you are not alone in what you are feeling or experiencing. Just keep looking for the people. And we have the access to the internet these days. So we can get into connection with people very far away from us, but very close, heart to heart. So
Mm.
I guess that was three tips, but
Oh, fantastic.
very, very, very important to know where you want to go, trust yourself, and keep reaching out until you find the person who resonates with you.
Yes. Oh my God. That is usual. I mean, that is exactly what I generally would say too, because a lot of what I talk about is becoming magnetically attractive to either what you want or, in this case, where you're going to find the healing and the connection that you really need on your journey. And I love the way you explained the embodiment aspect of how it feels to be in that expansive place
Yeah.
versus that constricted no space. And the more people can tap in to that feeling in the body, the better. And I'll just give like my favorite exercise for that is I call it 3 for me. So it's like, every hour or, even if it's just once or twice a day, set an alarm. Well, sit down, close your eyes, put your hands on your body, especially like in a place where you feel tight, and just ask
Yeah.
yourself, what do I want right now? And then listen and give yourself the thing.
Totally.
Yeah. And
Totally.
and I love
There
the way you put that.
I love that exercise. And one of the things that I usually like name when I lead things like that is that your head, if you're still in your
Mhm.
head is going to tell you all the things that you need to do over time.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you're in your body or your heart, it's going to say something that you can do right now. It's going to be like, just breathe, just relax, let it go. It's
Yes.
going to be hard. You're going to want to like throw your middle finger
Usable.
up at that voice.
Yes.
But it's going to be that thing that gives you instant relief
Yeah.
and instant connection and instant support. So, yeah, really, really beautiful. And touch is so important too. I love
Oh,
bring your hands to
yeah.
your body,
Mhm.
and where is needing that connection most.
Yeah, I'm like, I could go like, we could go down the whole rabbit hole of love languages on that one. My most important one is physical touch. So, but yes, it
Yeah.
comes to getting your body's wisdom. And it's, I think, the easiest path, because I get the question a lot, like, how do I trust myself? Tap into your
Yes.
body, because your brain, as you like, you literally just said it. Your brain
Mhm.
is going to be telling you all the shoulds. And I like to say, don't
Mhm.
should all over yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're in your body doesn't lie to you, and you may not want to hear what it
Yes.
has to say, but at least you will know. And then what from
Yes.
there,
When you're ready to hear, your body will always tell you. And it's important to keep in mind our head has a lot of voices in it.
yeah,
Most of them are checking in with you to
yeah,
see if those thoughts are needed.
yeah,
We've like totally confused our relationship with our brain. We think that we have to believe the thoughts that come through, but
yeah,
it's just like, hey, we saw this. Do you need this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Is
yeah,
this important? Tell
yeah,
me, what should I do with this? And we're like, oh my gosh, I had this thought. And we start chasing the thoughts. And it's
yeah,
just like, you can say, nope, I don't need that. Nope, not looking like that.
yeah,
Remember that direction that you want to go. I'm only interested in things taking me towards healing or taking me
yes,
towards love or taking me towards peace or taking me towards freedom. Like everything else, like delete,
yeah,
delete, get rid of,
yeah,
flush
exactly.
all the other stuff coming
Yeah,
from that, like
yeah.
brain. Just detoxing.
Exactly.
It's
It's like,
just the
again,
stuff.
it's, as a visual person, like, one of my favorite analogies for that is, like, imagine you are waiting for an Uber, and, the color of the car is what kind of thought this is. So, like, whatever your least favorite color is, like, this is a thought of, that you don't have to get into the car and ride
Do
it
not
anywhere.
get
So
into
it's
the
like, what is,
car.
so it's like my least favorite would probably be like a brownish green, like maybe rusty old jalopy, right? I'm like, I am not gonna get in that car. That might be the belief that, like, I'm not worth it, right? I'm like, I
Oh,
don't
I
have to
love
get into that
that.
car,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
here comes like this gorgeous limo taking me to some fancy destination, like you said, getting clarity on where you want to go,
Where
which
you wanna
thought
go.
is going to take
Yeah.
you, what car do you want to get into, what thought do you want to
Mhm.
have that's going to take you where you want
Mhm.
to go. And like you said, just follow that one and follow where it leads you. And
Absolutely. Oh,
ah
I love that. I love that analogy.
yeah, it's like we could follow, I'm like, and we could ride that one off into the sunset.
Yes, yes. And sometimes it's like, oh, I mean, it's true. When you see that car that you want so much,
Mm,
notice all the voices in there that are like, you don't deserve it. You're not good enough for that. But that want is there for a reason. So
yes.
be patient with yourself. Notice those thoughts, take care of those thoughts, heal those thoughts. You know how to do it. We're all born, we're wired to heal, we're wired for self healing, and just keep believing in that fancy vehicle that you
Yes.
wanna be riding in your life.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And I think one of my pivotal beliefs that has really helped me, and you just said it, is like, can you believe that you deserve your desires? Because if you have a desire, I believe it is literally there for you as that, light on your path for your journey. So it's like allowing yourself to trust that.
Definitely.
And so,
Awesome.
Erin, where can people find you?
Well, people can find me at my website, which is erinloporto.com. I also have a YouTube channel at Erin LoPorto and am on Instagram. Um, but yeah, and I think the freebie is available, which is erinlaporto.com/self/care/journal. But that is a 70-page thing to just start. And it gives a really kind of external, these are the scientific things of wellness, how to increase your dopamine and your
Nice.
serotonin and your feel good hormones. Like, this is a good place to start when you're so disconnected from your body, you really don't know what to do, but it's also set to guide you to actually observing yourself and journaling and figuring out what actually lights me up, what makes me feel big and expansive and filled with possibilities, and to really know that when we start taking care of ourselves, when we start loving of ourselves, that is such a personal, unique path that, like, one thing that might be totally dysfunctional for one person is like the other person's like, this is my way home, baby.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
so to like give yourself again that permission to trust what your direct experience is. But yeah, that's what I have to get started. And you can always reach out to me. And I do have little like monthly things that are totally for free to just start diving into some of the work that I do. So
Awesome. I love it so much. And one thing we talked about earlier is like you actually, for those people who like need the science and the brain behind why these
yes.
things work, you have that in there, which I absolutely love. And I'll make sure we have all of those links in the show notes down below. And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can go to either experienceapril.com or aprilaross.com. And Yes to Life is a nonprofit, and you can find us there at, as well as all of the other podcast links at yes to life USA.org. And just thank you so much for coming on today, Erin, and
Thank you.
sharing these gifts of your insight and wisdom with everyone today.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for this very important work that you do and these offerings that you have to the world. So
You're very
thank
welcome.
you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. All right. Talk to you soon.